Hi there, and welcome to the Somewhere Between Here and Healing podcast. I'm Viv, your host and fellow traveler on this journey of navigating life after growing up with a narcissistic parent. Together, we'll explore the messy, the funny, and the downright unbelievable stories of family, life, and self discovery. Please let it be known I am not a therapist nor claim to be an expert in any way. I am simply someone who's been through it, still figuring things out, and I'm here to share my story with you. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's get this thing started. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're diving into a topic that affects so many people. We're talking about the roles people unknowingly take or are given in a narcissist's world. If you've ever felt trapped in a cycle with somebody who constantly manipulates, belittles, or controls you, this episode might be for you. Now, a narcissist rarely operates alone. They create a system around them, a kind of ecosystem, if you will, where everyone has a role to play, whether they realize it or not. While these roles are often talked about in the context of narcissistic family dynamics, they also show up in romantic relationships, friendships, even in the workplace. Anywhere there is a narcissist, really. So let's break down these roles and how they may appear in different parts of life. Number one, the golden child. The golden child is the one who can do no wrong in the narcissist's eyes. They are the chosen one, the pride and joy, the reflection of everything the narcissist wishes to see in themselves. However, their worth is conditional. They must constantly prove themselves, maintain the narcissist's illusion of perfection, and suppress anything that might contradict that image. In families, the golden child is often a high achiever, the star athlete, or the most obedient child who follows the narcissist's rules without question. They can receive special treatment, praise, and privileges, but this favoritism comes with immense pressure. If they fail or disappoint, they risk being emotionally discarded or worse, switched into a role of, say, the scapegoat. For example, a narcissistic mother might shower one child with attention while neglecting the others, saying things like, "Why can't your siblings be more like you?" Pitting them against each other. In romantic relationships, this role can play out in the love bombing phase. The narcissist puts their partner on a pedestal, treating them as if they were the most special, perfect person they've ever met, showering them with love and affection. But the moment the partner asserts their independence or stops fulfilling the narcissist's expectations, that admiration can quickly turn into criticism. One day they're hearing things like, "Oh, you are the best thing that ever happened to me." And the next they can hear, "You are so selfish," or "I guess you're not as special as I thought." In the workplace, the golden child role can be that favored employee, whether they deserve it or not. A narcissistic boss might treat them like their right hand person, singling them out for praise and giving them the best assignments. However, their position is precarious. If they challenge the narcissist's authority or fail to make them look good, they can quickly become the office scapegoat. For example, an employee who once enjoyed praise for their work might suddenly be ignored or undermined if they stop feeding into the boss's ego. The golden child's greatest challenge is realizing that their worth is not tied to the narcissist's approval and that real love isn't conditional. Number two, the scapegoat. The scapegoat is the narcissist's emotional punching bag, the one who is blamed for everything that goes wrong. They are the problem child, the difficult one, the one who, quote, just doesn't get it. In reality, they are often the most self aware, independent, and emotionally intelligent person in the group, which is precisely why they are targeted. In families, the scapegoat is a child who refuses to conform to the narcissist's expectations. They are the ones who question the rules, see through the manipulation, or simply fail to meet the narcissist's impossible standards. A narcissistic parent might say things like, "You're always causing trouble," or "Why can't you just do what I say?" even when the scapegoat has done nothing wrong. They are often accused of being ungrateful or rebellious simply for having opinions or boundaries. In romantic relationships, the scapegoat is the partner who is blamed for all the problems. The narcissist projects their own flaws onto them, twisting reality to make it seem like they're the toxic one. If the narcissist is caught lying, suddenly the scapegoat is, quote, paranoid. If the narcissist is emotionally distant, suddenly the scapegoat is, quote, needy. This gaslighting creates deep self doubt, making the victim question their own reality. At work, the scapegoat can be the employee who gets blamed for failures, even if they had nothing to do with them. If a narcissistic boss misses a deadline, the scapegoat is accused of not working hard enough. If a project goes wrong, well, if you had been more organized, this wouldn't have happened. They are often undermined, criticized in front of others, and given the most difficult tasks with the littlest support, basically setting them up for failure. The scapegoat's strength lies in their ability to see the truth. Remember that. Once they recognize the manipulation for what it is, they can step away and refuse to carry burdens that were never theirs to begin with. 3. The enabler. The enabler is the one who keeps the narcissistic's world intact by making excuses for their behavior, smoothing things over, and protecting them from consequences. They may not realize they are enabling toxicity, but their actions help maintain the narcissist's power. In families, this is often a spouse or parent who defends the narcissist at all costs. If someone calls out the narcissist's behavior, the enabler jumps in with, "Well, they didn't mean it," or "You know how they get when they're stressed." A classic example is a mother who watches her narcissistic husband belittle their children, but tells them, "Don't take it personally. That's just how he is." Instead of standing up for the victim, they downplay the abuse. In romantic relationships, the enabler is the partner who keeps forgiving the narcissist's behavior, often convincing themselves that if I just love them enough, they'll change. They may cover for them, make excuses to others, or even turn against those who try to help. If a friend says, "That behavior isn't okay," the enabler may respond with, "Well, you don't know them like I do." At work, the enabler is the employee or coworker who goes along with the narcissist's toxicity to avoid conflict. If a narcissistic manager treats employees unfairly, the enabler might say, "Well, that's just their leadership style," or encourage coworkers to stay on their good side. Instead of challenging the system, they reinforce it by normalizing the abuse. 4. The lost child. The lost child is the one who fades into the background, avoiding conflict and attention as much as possible. They may seem quiet, detached, or indifferent, but in reality, they have learned that the safest way to survive is to stay invisible. In families, the lost child is often the sibling who stays out of the drama. While the golden child and the scapegoat are caught in the narcissist's web, the lost child retreats, reading books, playing video games, or just disappearing into their own world. They are often overlooked and emotionally neglected, leading to struggles with self expression and confidence later in life. In romantic relationships, the lost child might be the partner who shuts down rather than engage in conflict. If the narcissist starts an argument, they withdraw instead of defending themselves. They may stay in an unhealthy relationship simply because confronting the truth feels overwhelming. At work, the lost child can be the employee who does their job quietly, avoiding office politics and toxic interactions. If a narcissistic boss plays favorites or scapegoats someone, the lost child stays neutral, hoping not to get involved. They may feel powerless in the face of toxicity, believing that speaking up will only make things worse. The lost child's challenge is to recognize that their voice does matter. Avoiding conflict may feel safe, but true healing can come from stepping out of the shadows and reclaiming their place in the world. The flying monkey, number 5. Flying monkeys are the narcissist's messengers, enforcers, and unwitting accomplices. The term comes from The Wizard of Oz, where the Wicked Witch had an army of winged creatures doing her bidding. In this case, the narcissist manipulates others into acting on their behalf, often without them even realizing it. In families, this can be a sibling, a parent, or even a relative who takes the narcissist's side and spreads their narrative. If the scapegoat speaks up about abuse, the flying monkey is the one who defends the narcissist, saying things like, "You're overreacting," or again, "That's just how they are. Don't be so sensitive." They may even go so far as to attack the scapegoat, calling them dramatic or ungrateful. In romantic relationships, flying monkeys often take the form of mutual friends or even the narcissist's exes who still believe in their charm. For example, if a partner tries to leave the narcissist, these flying monkeys might guilt trip them into saying, For example, if a partner tries to leave the narcissist, these flying monkeys might guilt trip them into staying by saying, They love you so much, you should just give them another chance. At work, a narcissistic boss might recruit a flying monkey coworker to spread rumors, say, about someone who threatens their power. For instance, if an employee starts questioning unethical practices, the narcissist may use a flying monkey to undermine that person's credibility, whispering things like, Did you hear they're trying to cause trouble for the team? Flying monkeys make it harder for victims to break free because they reinforce the narcissist's version of reality. 6, the caretaker or people pleaser. The caretaker is the emotional janitor of the narcissist's world, constantly cleaning up their messes, soothing their outbursts, and making sure their needs are met, often at the expense of their own well being. In families, this is often a parent or child who takes on the role of keeping the narcissist happy. If a narcissistic mother is prone to emotional breakdowns, the caretaker child might develop hyper awareness of her moods, constantly trying to keep the peace. They may say things like, If I can just keep her from getting upset, everything will be okay. In romantic relationships, the caretaker partner may absorb the narcissist's stress, tiptoe around their emotions, and try to prevent arguments. The caretaker reassures them, saying, I know you didn't mean it, you've just had a rough day. This often leads to a loss of self identity as they become consumed with meeting the narcissist's needs. At work, this is the employee who takes on extra tasks, smooths over conflicts, and tries to keep a difficult boss happy. If a narcissistic manager is throwing a tantrum in a meeting, the caretaker is the one jumping in with, Well, let's not stress about this. I'll take care of it. They may not realize that by constantly accommodating the narcissist, they are enabling the toxic behavior. Over time, caretakers can definitely burn out, realizing they have spent so much energy on someone who gives so very little, if anything, in return. Number 7, the rival or the threat. Unlike the roles that involve submission, this role can be given to anyone the narcissist perceives as a danger to their control. If you challenge their authority, success, or version of reality, you can become a target. In families, this could be a sibling who outshines the narcissist academically, professionally, or socially. A narcissistic parent may try to pit siblings against each other, ensuring that the one they feel threatened by is isolated. Why can't you be more like your sister? Might be a common phrase, subtly fostering resentment. In romantic relationships, the narcissist may turn on their partner the moment they start asserting independence. If a partner decides to go back to school, take on a leadership role at work, or make new friends, the narcissist sees it as a direct attack. They may undermine them with comments like, "Well, you're too busy for me now," or actively sabotage their efforts. At work, this is the competent employee who threatens the narcissistic boss's fragile ego. If an employee gains recognition for their work, the narcissist may subtly shift from friendly to hostile. They might start micromanaging, downplaying their achievements, or even spreading false rumors to discredit them. Being labeled a rival by a narcissist can feel like stepping into a battle you never signed up for. The best defense? Setting boundaries and refusing to engage in their power games. 8. The Echo. And yes, I'm referencing Greek mythology here. The Echo is a person who mirrors the narcissist's identity, often without realizing it. Unlike the golden child, who is praised for their success, the Echo is more like a shadow, existing only to serve the narcissist's needs and reflect their desires back to them. In families, this could be a child conditioned to adopt the narcissist's views, opinions, and even personality. If a narcissistic father is obsessed with sports, the echo child may be pressured into loving the same team, wearing the same jerseys, and having the same interests, regardless of their actual preference. In romantic relationships, an echo partner molds themselves to fit the narcissist's needs. If the narcissist likes a certain type of music, the partner suddenly likes it too. If the narcissist criticizes a certain group of people, the partner starts echoing those opinions without question. At work, the echo employee follows the narcissistic boss without question, even when unethical behavior can be involved. If the boss lies to clients, the echo justifies it, thinking, well, that's just how business works. They don't necessarily agree, but are being conditioned to follow along rather than think independently. Breaking free from the echo role requires rediscovering one's true self, interests, values, something the narcissist worked pretty hard to erase. These roles can also overlap one another. People rarely fit into just one role forever. These labels aren't set in stone. They shift and evolve depending on the narcissist's needs, mood, or even who else is in the picture at any given time. A person can be praised one day and vilified the next, depending on how well they're serving the narcissist's agenda. So let's go into some examples of this. When the golden child becomes the scapegoat. The golden child holds an elevated status, yes, but it comes at a cost: constant perfection. The moment they assert independence, set some boundaries, or stop mirroring the narcissist's expectations, they can fall from grace, if you will. A daughter who was once showered with praise for excelling in school may suddenly be labeled disrespectful if she pursues a career path that the narcissist disapproves of. A favored son may go from my pride and joy to selfish and ungrateful the moment he moves away or marries someone the narcissist can't control. When the caretaker becomes a flying monkey, over time, they may start defending the narcissist instead of protecting others from them. A spouse who once tried to soften the narcissist's anger may eventually turn against their own children, justifying the narcissist's behavior by saying things like, "You don't understand them like I do," or "You need to stop upsetting them." This shift from enabling to actively participating in the abuse can be quite subtle, but it is devastating for those on the receiving end of it. When the lost child becomes the scapegoat. The lost child's survival strategy is to stay quiet and invisible, right? But if they suddenly find their voice, if they question the narcissist, refuse to go along with the dysfunction, or start seeking independence, they can quickly become the new target. A sibling who once was always overlooked may suddenly face attacks if they call out any past or present abuse or challenge family narratives. They may be met with accusations like, "You're just trying to cause problems," or "You've changed. You think you're better than us now." Their long standing invisibility is shattered, and the narcissist punishes them for daring to step into the light. When the scapegoat becomes the golden child, and this is usually temporarily, though rare, a scapegoat can momentarily find themselves in the narcissist's favor, usually when it serves a purpose. If they achieve something that reflects well on the narcissist, such as professional success, wealth, or public recognition, the narcissist may suddenly shift their treatment, bragging about them as if they were supportive all along. However, this favor is conditional. The moment the scapegoat stops benefiting the narcissist's image, they are discarded once more. Now that we've covered all those roles, did any of them sound familiar to you? Did something ring a bell, make you question things, or maybe even help you see your experiences in a new light? It's wild to me how so many people, often without realizing it, find themselves in these same patterns, playing roles they never signed up for, yet somehow fell into. The more we talk about it, the clearer it becomes. These dynamics aren't just personal, they're deeply universal as well. Wrapping up today's episode, we've explored the many roles people often find themselves playing in a narcissist's world, whether as the caretaker, the scapegoat, the enabler, or even the lost one in the background. If you've been doing any research or listening to me or any other podcasts or YouTubes out there, these patterns and roles may already be familiar to you. And if you're new here, maybe you're starting to recognize these in your own experiences. Either way, I think one of the most important things to remember is this: awareness is power. Recognizing these roles is definitely not about blame, it's about understanding. It's about seeing the patterns clearly so you can decide how you want to, if you can, move forward. If you felt stuck in a cycle, know that you are not alone and you are not powerless. Healing can start with very small steps, setting some boundaries, starting to reclaim your voice, and simply reminding yourself that you are worthy of relationships built on respect and authenticity. Thank you for tuning in and for taking this journey with me as always. Your time, your energy, and your willingness to reflect with me means so much. If this episode resonated with you, please be sure to share it with someone who might also need to hear it. And as always, take care of you. You deserve it. Until next time, Viv. Thank you for listening and spending time with me today. I appreciate you all so much. If you haven't already, please subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and follow me on social media. Your support means the world. Plus, it really helps a podcast grow and reach more people like us. And don't forget, I'd love to hear from you. Send me your questions, share your story, or just drop by to say hello at vivvance@gmail.com. Until next time, remember, healing isn't linear, life can be unpredictable, but you are never alone in this journey. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.